Hey, how are you doing? This is Greg Van Kirk. Hope you're doing well. Want to spend a few minutes here to walk you through this VUCA map. The VUCA map is for conversations about volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity in a system. Again, a system could be a big picture system, it could be an organization, it could be a community, it could be a team. That's for you to define. Think of a system as people working together in some capacity. This is a situation analysis tool, and this is currently in this field guide in toolkit 3, maybe in a different toolkit in your field guide, but totally fine. And this is a human-centered and systems mapping tool. So I'm going to start with, as always, about this tool. I'll walk you through that at the top here on this page. Next, you see down below we have how to use this tool. And then we have here, click here around the tool to access the Google Sheet, make an editable copy of the tool itself. So I'll go through this. Here is the tool that I'll be describing. I'll walk you through. And then we have engagement role guidance, which will be the last part of this. So let me start with about this tool, and then I'll go over to the tool and walk you through how to use it. So with the accelerating pace of change, we're increasingly surrounded by and working in VUCA. VUCA is volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. VUCA can create unease and stress. It makes us reactive. It can be debilitating and negatively impact well-being. Given this, it's critical to identify where it exists, why it exists, who it's impacting, and how it's impacting the system. This VUCA map tool should help you and your team do this. It should also help you have conversations about mitigation and adaptation areas. To note, I built this tool because we talk about VUCA, we experience VUCA, but we don't have really concise conversations oftentimes about where it exists to really break it down and make sure we understand how and where we're experiencing it. So it's just really to be able to have a very productive and much more concentrated conversation about VUCA rather than simply a sort of a more amorphous one. Described in greater detail, the four components of VUCA are as follows. Volatility. This is frequent, rapid, and significant change. Things going up and down all of the time, right? Uncertainty. Events and outcomes are unpredictable. Complexity. Relationships are interrelated and difficult to understand. A change in one thing may cause an unintended change in another. As you can see, we're living in all of these, right? Ambiguity. This is a lack of clarity and difficulty understanding exactly what's happening, right? So very ambiguous situation. So how to use this tool, put this in my own words here. Again, click on it if you want to get it in Google Sheets. But this is reflective of the guidance on the previous page. So first, you just want to note down who is the community, system, or organization, or team, right? That we're analyzing here. Then at the top, on the column on the left, at the top, you'll see the VUCA factors. Down that, you see volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. And then over to the right at the top, you see analysis. And so maybe we'll just start with volatility. Again, you can start wherever you want. You don't have to go top to bottom on this. But what we want to start with to the right of one of the VUCA factors is where we see this. So where do we see, for example, volatility within the system? Why this exists? So why do we think there's volatility, for example? Who this impacts, right? Who's the volatility impacting, maybe in a negative way? Really important to understand. It's going to impact certain people more than it is others. And then what is the impact, right? We're doing analysis. So what is the actual impact? And so if we go through each of these, then we can really understand sort of the whole volatility situation. And then are there places that we can step in to help mitigate or lower some of our VUCA, or build solutions that address that VUCA as it currently exists. Regardless, it's just really good to understand what's going on here, right? And then in terms of engagement role guidance, hands-on, create a VUCA map of either the organization you're working, volunteering, interning with, and or the community that the organization is supporting. You could also simply create a VUCA map for the community where you live, right? If you want to work on this and get to understand it. Consulting. Use this tool to help the organization team and a project team that you're consulting for focus on creating a VUCA map for themselves, their team, their organization, and or the community that will be supported as a result of your consultancy. As with all of these tools, this can be one of your final deliverables. And innovating. Create a VUCA map of the community and or organization that you aspire to support with the innovation you're designing. So before you get to your design, before you start thinking about where you're going to potentially step in and co-create and support a community, really helpful to understand the VUCA equation. And one final note is, if you think about VUCA, it certainly affects different communities very, very differently, right? Sort of a marginalized community in a rural area is going to experience VUCA very differently than maybe even a marginalized community in an urban area. So very different factors. So really spent some time on this, and I think you'll find it very helpful. So that is our VUCA map. As always, don't hesitate to reach out if I can be supportive in some way. Hope you find this helpful and it helps you analyze things in new and different ways to be able to make more informed decisions. But apart from that, have a wonderful day, and thank you for participating and taking advantage of these tools that I've built. All the best.